you have this account called Discussing Film, which is saying that sex and nudity in movies has decreased by almost 40%, and movies with no sexual content has increased from 20%. And people are celebrating this in the comment section as if it's some American cultural milestone, as if the life of average Americans have improved massively due to this. I don't really know how though, but everyone, again, like as you can see here, everyone is happy, everyone is excited. And to me, it's bewildering because I grew up in a time when you did have too many sex scenes, I would say. Like almost every single movie had its sex scenes in it. And now it doesn't. And the reason that I find it a problem is because I know, working in the gaming industry, that most of it is not due to the fact that the artists decide not to have these scenes in the film. Most of it is due to censorship. And the censorship comes from different places. It can come from governments. China, for instance, if you want to sell a movie there, you gotta censor. It can come from activists. Game of Thrones, for instance, it had nudity in the first seasons, but then the feminists freaked out once the show became more popular, so they decided to censor that. Actors can also climb a ladder and then kick it down for everyone else. The lady who played Black Widow in Marvel, for instance, like she starred in many lewd scenes throughout her movie career, which made her famous. And then once she became famous, she was talking against nudity and lewdness so that other actresses can't do what she did. So there is a huge pressure in order to make sure that nothing sexual gets to be displayed. At least nothing heteronormative. Because if it's LGBT content, then there is pressure to actually show that. And we see it a lot in the gaming industry specifically, like anything that is not heteronormative is being promoted. Whether you have, like in Baldur's Gate, sex with demons, sex with bears, that one is actually cheered by the video game journalists, especially. And if you have like a video game with just an attractive woman, like Stellar Blade, the same journalists freak out about it. They act incredibly weird. If you have fan service in anime, again, they freak out. They don't like anything that has to do with heteronormativity. And you would ask, well, what is the problem with that? And the problem with that is that this is not due to society changing. Like, it's not like society is becoming more Christian-oriented and everyone just decided that they don't want to see these things. If anything, more women in our society are using services like OnlyFans than ever before. I mean, OnlyFans has millions of subscribers. So that is millions of people's daughters that are going online in order to try to persuade people's sons to part with their money in order to receive lewd pictures of that. So if you want to analyze like the purity of society, if you want to analyze, like the depravity, I would say we live in more depraved times than we did 20 years ago when these types of movies were mainstream. And I've been watching some movies recently from the 90s and the 80s, and yeah, like you got to see actual nipples on the big screen. I mean, Starship Troopers, for instance, has a scene where the character is naked, you can see her nipples, they're on the big screen, like you would go to a cinema and you would see that, and that wouldn't be allowed today. Again, not because the person making the movie would not want that, but it's simply due to the fact that they would be censored. Probably the publishing house would be like, no, we want to sell this in China, you're not allowed to have this depicted. So, to me, it's the censorship that's really annoying. It's the pathological activists that are trying to consider heteronormativity to be something disgusting and ugly and shameful. But if it's anything else, again, sex with demons or with bears like in Baldur's Gate, that is to be promoted. I mean, they're even demanding more LGBT representations in TV shows and movies. So it is this aspect of society that bothers me. And again, I genuinely do not know how healthy this is for a society because the demand is still there. Like, there is a demand for people to see lewd stuff, right? Like, grown adults, people over the age of 18, want to see in their movies and in their entertainment two things: tits and violence. Like, this has been since ancient Greece. This has been since the theater was invented. these were the two things that classified as entertainment for young men. And if you don't give it to them in movies, they're going to look at in other places, such as Twitch, OnlyFans, so on and so forth. So I generally don't know if by not showing this in movies, it's necessarily good or not. I mean, again, the outlet is going to be found elsewhere. And I generally think that this is why anime is so popular. And why many anime that have nothing besides fan service gain increasing popularity, much to the horror and dismay of all the activists and the people that are cheering that this is happening. It's simply that they're not convincing people that watching movies like this is wrong. They're not making the argument that there's anything wrong with these movies. They're just not allowing these movies to be displayed. So, like, the people who aren't convinced that this is bad for them, they're just going to look for it somewhere else. And I think this is actually happening because Hollywood is in decline lately. Like, a lot of movies are ended up flopping. They're not making money as they used to. Actors aren't as popular as they used to. I mean, there's more Zoomers that know who Shy Lily is than there are Zoomers who know who these actors are. And if you're looking at it, you notice that most actors that are being presented are usually old people because there are no new actors that are popular. I mean, the youngest actor that I can think of which has popularity is Keanu Reeves. Oh, and Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is probably the youngest, yeah. But other than that, I generally don't know any female actresses, which is quite bizarre, isn't it? And it's not that they remove sexuality, because the way they are promoting this is trying to imply, oh, so if a woman doesn't show tits on screen, that means you don't care who she is. It's like, no, they removed romanticism. They removed wholesomeness. They removed female characters that people would like to at least be friends with, let alone be in a relationship. Like, most of the female characters that Hollywood is presenting is the Captain Marvel type of resting bitch face stoic figure that's hyper violent and extremely aggressive. And a lot of people just don't want someone like that as a friend in their real life, let alone as a companion. I mean, if you look at the old Walt Disney movies, there's no sex scenes in them. There's no nudity or lewdness or anything like that. But the female characters, they're romantical, they're wholesome, they act like human beings. And this is why even men like Disney movies. Like, even men like Aladdin, even men like to watch Tarzan. Because the characters there, both the male and the female, were relatable human beings. But now when you look at Hollywood movies, I don't see any of that. I see an excess in hyper-violence. I see an excess in vulgarity, like they use obscenities and curse words and toilet humor. The violence is off the scale. However, when it comes to romanticism, when it comes to sensitivity, when it comes to anything like that, it's not there. It's completely gone. So, I see that they're cherishing this, and they constantly say, well, it's down and everyone is... But so is the income. So is the profit margins. So, you know, at the end of the day, I guess, like, the people who are cheering this are happy that it's happening, but the people that are not happy because they're not getting the entertainment that they want, they're just moving out and they're watching other things. They're watching anime, they're watching VTubers, they're watching OnlyFans, they're watching, like, other stuff that would cater to them. So they're not even part of the conversation. But unfortunately, as you can see in the investment returns, yeah, those movies are doing horrible. And by the way, you know, you can talk about nudity. I mean, almost every single movie that I grew up with had some nudity in it. Like, even Star Wars, right? I got Princess Leia in her bikini outfit, and those toys sold incredibly well. And Leia in her bikini outfit wasn't demeaning when you look at it in the context. It's like, okay, well, she was kidnapped by this drug lord, but she managed to fight against her captor and freed herself. It's a very wholesome story of her being the heroine of that. And then she kills Jabba the Hutt. Like that is a plot element that you just cannot have in a modern movie now. It's just, it can't exist. By taking the character, putting the character in a humiliating position, the audience feels for the character. Like the audience is horrified when they see what happens with a dancer that doesn't comply and gets fed to this wild beast. And then Leia manages to summon the courage in order to fight against Jabba the Hutt, and she's winning and she's victorious. Like that's a wholesome story. That makes her a hero. You can't have that anymore. They will call the movie producer a misogynistic pig. They will say that he is demeaning towards women. But if you were to have Leia doing OnlyFans and actually having a scene where Leia goes on the ship, she's logging in, she's recording herself, getting donations from subscribers while she's posting in lewd positions, oh, that's fine. No, like that's America. That's now good. That's to be celebrated. So this is why I'm looking at this and I'm laughing at it and I'm not agreeing with it. Because it doesn't show that society has become any better. It doesn't show that, oh, society has values now and people have decided to move away from this type of thing. No. Society doesn't have the values. They're just imposed by others. Like, people aren't convinced that you shouldn't see sexy romance in movies. And there is more smut than ever. It's just that it's not on Hollywood. It's not on the big screen. But it's on OnlyFans and Twitch and all the other places. And it's also that violence and gore and all of the other stuff is more present than ever before. But, like, for some reason, that's fine. So bizarre. No, seriously, like, think about it. The Walking Dead, right? Like, if you have in The Walking Dead a scene that is sexual and nudity, people freak out and they would say, wow, that's inappropriate. But if you have the mother of Carl having her son split her open so that she can give birth and then she turns into a zombie and Carl kills her, no, that's fine. What is the morality here? Like, what are the family values that we're talking about, huh? Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.